Shipping, billing, admin, payroll, marketing. You're managing all the things, so why waste time sending important documents the old-fashioned way? Mail and ship when you want, how you want with Stamps.com. Print postage on demand 24/7 and schedule pickups from your office or home. Save up to 90% with automated rate shopping. That's why over 1 million small businesses trust Stamps.com. Go to Stamps.com and use code PODCAST to try Stamps.com risk-free for 60 days.
All right, guys, so check this out. Have you ever heard of Goldbelly? Okay, so it's this amazing site where you can order the most iconic, famous foods from restaurants all across the country, and they will ship it straight to your door. That's right, these guys will ship you Philly cheesesteaks from Jim's or Pat's in Philly, buffalo wings from the Anchor Bar in Buffalo, and even Kansas City's most legendary barbecue. So if you're looking to host an epic Super Bowl party, go to goldbelly.com and get free shipping and 20% off your first order with promo code GAMEDAY.
Welcome back to the Bigfoot Manifesto, the podcast that believes in progressive politics, fair wages for artists, and the faint possibility that Bigfoot refuses to stream his music on Spotify because the royalty rate is 0.3 pine cones per play. Well, we took a brief holiday break, no new episode, just everyone pretending to rest while capitalism screams softly in the background. But we're back, and today we're diving into something near and dear to my heart, music, and how the industry has shape-shifted more times than a cryptid hiding in the Pacific Northwest. From vinyl to cassettes to CDs to MP3s to streaming to whatever the hell AI singers are supposed to be, musicians have lived through every reinvention, usually without getting a say in any of it. And our guest today, he's lived the entire arc from the days when you actually got paid for the records to the present moment where an algorithm decides whether or not you exist. So let me introduce Andy Shernoff is a founding member of the Dictators, one of the great proto-punk bands of all time. He's a songwriter, musician, producer, historian of the New York rock scene, and a man who's seen more industry bullshit than Bigfoot has seen blurry photographs. He's navigated label politics, the collapse of physical media, and the rise of streaming capitalism firsthand. So if we're going to talk honestly about the state of music today, who gets paid, who doesn't, and who benefits, there's nobody better to do it. So, Andy, welcome to the Bigfoot Manifesto. You know, if anyone can help us decode the chaotic mess of modern music, you know, I think it could be you. Who knows? Yeah, I mean, you've seen that you've been in the industry, you know, for over 5 decades now, right? And you know, you've seen it all. You've seen it all. So, you know, that's why I wanted to have you, because I think you can give us a little historical perspective of, you know, how the industry's changed over the years and, you know, what it's meant to artists, and particularly because I know it's not going to be the same for every musician. So I just want to get your perspective. So Andy, let's start with the big one, AI generated music. And we're starting to see these AI generated artists, like, you've probably seen them. I mean, I've seen a couple. I saw like someone put up like a country music one, and I think it was like on Variety and everything. And some people were getting up in arms, which I can understand. You know, AI is a real touchy element of society right now. Do you find that AI generated music is an evolution, or do you think it's more of a threat at this point to artists?
I don't think it's either. I mean, the thing about the songs you were referring to is that they were on top of the iTunes download chart, which means you're paying, somebody spent $1,000 and you're on top of the chart because it's 99 cents a download, or a dollar, whatever. And so they ended up on top of the chart and go, what is this AI? It's on top of there. No, somebody's scamming the system. The problem with AI is, and I'm not an expert by any stretch of the imagination, but it's these computers, these highly sophisticated computers and programs, they comb the internet for music, and they're taking the ideas and the production techniques of successful songs, and they're putting it into their songs. So basically, the co-writer is whoever their combing the internet for, and they're not paying royalties to those people. So as it stands now, I have a problem with it. I have no problem with the AI. I mean, it's almost inevitable, but the AI music, it's a problem. I've heard it. Sounds good. Good singers, good musician, but
Yeah, it's interesting, Andy, because I didn't realize that's how they were doing it at the top, and it makes sense because, like, for example, that happens in film too. Like, because you'll see like on Apple like films sometimes, and you'll see like a film, and you're literally, if you get 100 downloads of your film on the first day, you're gonna rocket to like number one. It's just same for documentaries. I didn't do this, but I remember my last documentary came out, and we shot up to number 2 in documentaries. And I think it was first day, and it was because there was like 200 downloads of it. So it works in a similar fashion. And I can say it's sort of like Donald Trump Jr. being a bestseller. Apparently, he just bought like box loads of his own book and got to the top of the New York Times bestsellers.
he gets the Republican National Committee to buy the book.
Yeah, exactly. Yep, exactly.
He's not buying it himself. He gets other people to buy 10,000 books, and then they give it away.
Yep.
To put it on the charts.
So it's a similar formula. It's just gaming the system now. Yeah, So what do you think artists lose when the machine is starting to mimic them? Is you think it's taking food out of their mouth literally?
I don't know. It's still the whole use of AI is still being developed. I mean, right now these companies, they don't make money. They spend money. They have no way to monetize AI right now. They plan to, but the competition is so intense that, I mean, right, I'm sure you're aware ChatGPT is being overcome by Gemini. Is Gemini the one from Google? Is that the name of I forgot the name. Okay.
Yeah. Wait. Gemini's Google.
Who's the best?
Yeah. Gemini's Google.
Yeah. So,
yeah, I mean, yeah, it's a total race. And then a lot of it was like when the Chinese one, DeepSeek, came out, that was the same sort of thing. So, like ChatGPT's like, oh, they just stole our whole platform and just reverse engineered it. I'm like, yeah, well, you didn't think that was going to happen. But yeah, you're seeing that. The competition's huge. And there's probably an economic bubble that's going to have to be dealt with this at some point too, because this is something worth trillions of dollars. And I think it's sort of a race. Like, I just had Barry Ritholtz on the show. We were talking about how these companies try and, like an Amazon, where they just want to just take over the whole marketplace. We discussed how Tesla thought they were going to do that with electric vehicles, that they would just take up the whole consumer space. Clearly hasn't worked out, but that's the thinking with these companies. I believe it's the same thing with AI. So the next thing I want to talk about is, you obviously came up with the pre-algorithm era. So what do you make of platforms actually putting these fake singers up against the real deal, like yourself? Does it bother you? I was an artist, that wouldn't bother me so much. I think people are going to look for your work, and I think it's almost a novelty, to tell you the truth. I mean, I'm not sure, but I feel it's like a novelty.
I think it's a curiosity that people are clicking on. I think Spotify requires AI to be labeled AI. Personally, I'm not a fan of electronic music really, or music made on computers. I'm a fan of people playing guitars.
Me too, Andy.
That's how I came up, and that's what I enjoy. I enjoy playing with other people, so though I do some recordings where I'm using electronic drums, and then I just put on my own. Then I play the bass and guitar and vocals and with a keyboard, whatever. I don't know. We'll see. It's hard to say at this point what's going to happen. It's way too early to give an opinion. Is it good? Is it bad?
Yeah.
I just want to say my only problem is that they're combing this. They're stealing ideas and techniques from other people. And I think, if you're doing AI music and you're combing the internet for, I don't know what they call it, information or I'm not an expert in AI. Got to give half the royalties back to the people who you stole the ideas from.
Yeah.
I can't steal a song idea. Somebody would sue me.
Yeah, exactly. The other thing too is you're seeing there's the voice cloning. Yeah, there's a lot of that. I even was just playing with that out of curiosity. I was let me see how it delivers my lines compared to AI, my AI clone compared to me. I was like playing with that, and it was kind of fun.
How did it sound? Did it sound like you?
Yeah, it did. It actually did. It was pretty good. It was interesting. I don't know if I'd want to use it. There's just something I don't like. It's the same thing, like how you're talking. I want to hear a guitar. I want to hear a bass guitar. I want to hear drums. I want to hear saxophones, trumpets. I want to hear like the real deal. So for me, it's not my style. But what about all these artists that are deceased? I've seen people clone their voices and try and make new songs using their voices. I mean, there's got to be, eventually there has to be some laws or legislation to stop this. Yeah.
Well, I know we'll see. I mean, the money is the money is in the AI, and to pass laws that restrict AI have not been successful, as far as I know.
No, not at all.
There's some feedback on that, pushback on that, but you're talking about trillions of dollars invested, and it's the government, not the government, congressmen, people who make the laws are obviously compliant to the executive branch right now, and the executive branch is involved in AI. So, I think the odds are against it right now. We'll see. We'll see what happens after the next election.
I just saw Denmark, though, passed a law like people can't use your voice or clone it. They put up some legislation. I'll put a link into it, but I just read an article like this just a few days ago about how Denmark passed that people can't use your voice, your being, your present in AI produced content. Like you own yourself. So maybe we'll see more. I'm sure we'd see it in places like a Denmark before we ever see it in the United States. I mean, America loves the free market. It's all about the money. So next thing I want to talk about, Andy, with you is, because I know you obviously deal with this a lot with your catalog, but let's talk about streaming. Streaming's incredible for listeners. Andy, I don't use it. Like, I've never used like Apple Music, Spotify, or anything. Like, you make a record, Andy, I go buy it and download it. I usually, like, for example, every Dictator record, album, I bought it in vinyl, I bought it in cassette, I bought it in CD, and I downloaded it. So I downloaded all your music, or bought it, purchased it in all forms. It's like every time, CDs are out, now I'll have to buy the CD. So I do that because I always feel like it's just, and if I can buy it directly from the artist, I appreciate that more. But that's how I am, because I like to support other artists. And the streaming thing, I buy the music I like and I make my playlist. So, I just have hard drives full of music. But that being said, you hear the complaints. It's really great for listeners. It's not so great for artists. We went from musicians, you guys making a living, selling records, to where, some of these people complain like, oh, I got $47 for like 1.2 million streams. I don't know if those numbers are accurate. Sometimes you hear these things. I want to do a little more research into it and see how that works. But like, how do you see, like, how has streaming changed the financial, reality for working musicians such as yourself?
They say vinyl is great, except for the cost and inconvenience. I stream. I don't listen to my records. I got a lot of records. I have a turntable. I stream. It's just, because I'm listening on my car, or when I'm, mostly in my car. Sometimes, I'll listen on headphones when I'm trying to go to sleep. But streaming is how my band, the Dictators, survives right now. It's through streaming. We never sold records. We never made money records. We made money playing. Now, the problem is most people don't, from the old days, most people don't own the record. It's whoever owns the master. Going to make, if you own your master, you're going to make money.
Yeah,
if you
of
own
course.
your master, you're going to make a pittance.
Yeah.
We own back in, we did our fourth record back in 2020. I said, let's own it. Let's license it. This is before YouTube and
Yeah.
Spotify, before everything. I just thought it was a better idea to own your record, and it ended up being a good decision. And we, we're not making tons of money, but we make money from streaming, and it keeps the band in the black,
In the black, or
in
you
the
could
red,
say, or the green.
well, green, in the green, and more. Yeah, I think green is more apropos.
It should be more appropriate,
It is. So we know. So a lot of people complain, but so I only got X amount for 1/8 of 1/100th of a cent for stream, but that's one person listening to your record. One person,
Yeah.
not gonna. They're not. If a radio play, you make 5 cents for each time it's played on the radio, and it's hitting 50,000 people. Let's say, that fraction of a penny seems appropriate.
Yeah, it's a numbers game, Andy. Think that's kind of what you're getting at. And that's what I thought, because I've been learning like so much. I think you knew, like, before, my filmmaking career, I was a tech guy, I was a software guy. So I understand a lot of, like, starting this podcast, I've gotten into like, okay, how do I break these algorithms? How does this work? And it's all about SEO and marketing, tagging, targeting audiences that are going to like your music. I mean, it's really intricate. And I think if artists can learn that, they can get more streams if they start learning how to use the system, because the system will work if you know how to use it. So I'm wondering, is a lot of these, we're not getting a lot of play. I mean, and I understand it, because what the algorithm's going to pick up, like, say, I mean, I can't even imagine like a Taylor Swift when she puts out a new album, YouTube promotion or Google ad. It's probably, it's probably a high 7-figure like ad. So I mean, it's really going to take up the algorithm, and it's going to run with it. So a lot of it's that. It's the same thing in film. It's all about, your distributors have the marketing muscle. So a lot of it is just that. I think marketing and like targeting and, just learning how the new landscape works, and it's different. I mean, like, people know the Dictators. So people are going to look for the Dictators, and it's going to come up. So I think you have a lot of that like clued in, but that's my take on it. I think the artists just need to learn the tools better on how to, make their music more visible.
Let me push back a little bit, because my own experience, we had somebody who came to us and said, we can work the algorithms and we can increase your streams. And after a year, we ended up with less streams from this company.
Andy, I've been through this. I've been through that.
Yeah, using the algorithm. Thing is, we're a minor player.
Yeah.
I'm just a working musician. I don't have hit records. I'm just a guy who's been, making music and eking out a living for the past 50 years. If you're Taylor Swift, you can use the algorithms. If you're Lady Gaga, there are a lot of people who get millions of plays and billions of plays, and it's easier to work the algorithms when you have that kind of muscle behind you.
Yeah, exactly. My last film we had similar. We had hired a company that specifically does films and targeting, and will get you more downloads and streams. And I mean, the results were not good.
If you're a small player, I think it's hard to get. There's only one way to be successful, and that's people liking your music.
Well,
over time and over a long period of time. And there are a lot of artists I've never heard of who got millions and millions of streams a month, and they're making money.
Yeah. Well, I mean, for example, for this podcast, Andy, so I spent a week just researching and figuring this out. And I ran for my podcast. I just did 2 short clips for episodes, and I ran $25 ads for 2 or 3 days, and it blew up. I hit the right tags, everything. And all of a sudden, one of them got like 50,000 views. in 2 days from a $20 buy. And I was like, man, if I had taken the 30 grand I gave that company to like do our film, I'm like I almost want to go back and do some test our film. Okay, I've kind of figured this out. It took me time, a little, a week of, it just took me like a few days to like research it and figure it
Ads on
out.
where? Facebook, or where would you take your ads out?
I did first. I've tested them in 2 places. I've tested YouTube promotions, like
YouTube,
so.
right.
Yeah, so you have a promotion, you run it. I target my groups, countries, regions, the interests of people, what these people are watching. And I just started this podcast 7 weeks ago. I just broke like 1,800 subscribers today. So it's definitely helped. And that was just I've spent like $70. It's not bad. So I'm just going to keep testing before I put any substantial money into it. I want to just get some more content. And that's another thing too, with things like this. It's just the amount of content you put out. Like the more you have up, the more you're in the machine, the more the algorithm's going to pick you up. So there's a lot of that.
Or the more content you have and the more minutes you have, the more money you can make. Also.
Correct. One of the services I use, like vidIQ, you have to reach certain criteria to monetize on YouTube. I'm well past the subscriber thing, but the next step is to get like 3,000 public viewing hours or whatever, and then it starts monetizing. I'll get a check every month. And right now with the 7 episodes, I think they estimated it'd be like $500 a month. I'm like, whatever, it's a start.
I assume you're paying your bills if you're getting 500. I mean, you're doing this home.
Yeah.
Grow. So
yeah.
Bills.
It's fun. It's the most fun I've had in a long time. Andy is doing this. So do you think fans understand what artists are making, or they just have no idea kind of the grind it is for you guys to kind of keep money coming in and what you're getting for your plays and everything? Do you think fans have any idea about this?
I don't think they even think about it.
Well,
Yeah, I think it's not a factor. I don't think about what somebody else is making. If I see somebody has 1 billion plays on Spotify, I go, "Wow, this guy is getting
you're like 1 billion plays
paid," or if they the millions of hits on YouTube, then they're getting paid.
Well, and I think you understand is like how you talked about like owning the master rights to it, because I've dealt with that, having to like for films to license music in our films. Like, for example, we did Super Size Me. Fat Bottom Girls cost us as much as it did to shoot the whole film. And we actually got a pretty good deal on it too. They gave us, I think it was one of the last step deals that they ever did, where once it gets like, does $1 million at the box office, $3 million at the box office, you pay in each level, and then they capped it at 11 million. And we went up to 31 million, but we only had to pay up to 11 million, which was nice. Which I don't think they do those deals anymore. But yeah, I know it can be costly. But when I saw that, I'm like, man, you got to own your master rights, because that's when I started learning how the business worked. I was like, oh, that's the key. It's like owning the master rights. And I think that's the formula. So do you think in the streaming world, compared to say, before the streaming model, do you think it's more sustainable for artists, or you think it's harder for artists now?
I think it's way more sustainable with streaming. Yeah.
See?
Anybody can just make some music, put it online, and if they got the goods, they can make money.
Right? I mean, that's how I see it too, Andy, because
problem is anybody can do it.
Yeah.
So when I got my first record deal, the amount of records that came out was, I don't know, a minuscule amount compared to what is now 100,000 songs every day being uploaded to Spotify.
I know.
So the competition is, you got there's more songs out there. You have to weed through to find the thing you like. But you make something people like, you don't need a rec company. You don't need a production company.
Exactly.
So for the artist, it's good.
It's almost democratizing.
Good.
It's almost democratizing, right, Andy? It's kind of right.
Yeah.
That's how I see it. And I love it now. This is why I'm doing the podcast. It's the first time, maybe ever, that I feel like I have like total control over everything. It's like it's all on me. The buck stops with me. I'm responsible for everything. I do 100% of this stuff. I write everything. I film everything. I record everything. And I feel it's like it's first time I felt like I have total control. And I'm not saying that in a freakish Hitler kind of way or thing, but it's liberating. And that's what I see. Because, for example, like you said, you had to get a record deal or you had to press them yourself. You had to go and record and press records yourself. And now it's like, boom, record, upload, done. By the way, so how does it work? To get, say, your music on Apple or Spotify, is it easy? Because my podcast was instantly up, it was up the same day.
You need a distributor. Distributors, either they take there are some distributors like DistroKid and TuneCore, they take a fee, a small fee, pretty small fee.
Yeah.
And I think I pay it every year. And then there are other ones who take 10% or 15%. So you got to find the distributor you're happy with, and you just do it online. You don't talk to anybody. There's no
of course, which is wonderful,
unless you have a problem.
Exactly. Then you got the AI bot you're talking to.
Right. So it's easy, and there are companies out there. Look, it's like how are we filming this? There's a company who's providing a service, so people who want to do a podcast can get it.
And it's great.
Yeah.
I use Riverside, as you've seen from my link I sent you, and it's a great service. I think I paid $288 to use this for the year. It's fantastic.
And you can do as many podcasts as you want. Yeah. Okay. I don't know the podcast business, but
yeah, I do one a week, and it fully supports that. And for my distribution, it's called Libsyn. It's Liberated Syndication, which is a great platform. So basically when I do this, I put the video up on YouTube, and then I create an audio one and I put it in Libsyn, and Libsyn sends it everywhere instantly. So it goes to Spotify, Apple, Audible, all of them. It goes to all of them. I don't have to do a thing. That's all I have to do, and it's great.
They collect for you, or do you have to collect who?
No, they take care of it all, from the ads and everything, Yeah, I just made I just got a thing. I made $8 last month. So hey, you got to start somewhere, Andy. I was just happy I got anything. I was like, oh, I got $8 from advertising.
You're just starting, you're building
yeah.
You're doing your own, and you're enjoying it. That's fantastic.
Yeah, and Andy, it's like I was having I recorded a episode with Barry Ritholtz the other day, and I don't know if you know Barry, but
I love Barry. I think he's
Barry's the best.
Well, I don't know personally. I'm just saying I've heard him speak, and I like.
I love Barry to death. He was in my film, and he's always been a big supporter. And he told me, Dave, it's a slog. And he goes, and quit looking at the numbers. Just keep doing your episodes, get better at this. And he goes, the audience is going to find you. He goes, my first 50 episodes were terrible. Now I'm over 650 episodes. And he goes, oh, I'm happy with it. And Barry was, he was great. It was a nice little pep talk before we started recording. I was like, thanks. But, yeah, so it's, I don't know. I kind of like the landscape now for artists a little bit. I think it's more democratizing. And I think a lot of distributors and some of the old networks are probably a little scared of it.
I think a lot of the networks are scared. YouTube is more popular than CBS or CNN or even Fox. More people watch news on YouTube. I love YouTube,
Yeah, me too. I mean, I agree.
I could see watch something about history. I could watch something about religion. I could watch something about politics. I could watch. I could watch a performance from last night of a band I like.
Yeah, I agree. I absolutely love YouTube.
Yeah. So I think the normal channels of distribution they're going to have to adapt in some way.
Yeah, I think so. Well, for our last segment, I want to talk about how the industry has changed, maybe losing some of its soul like we were talking about. We're hearing more electronic music, not hearing, sometimes I just listen to these new artists and I'm like, is that even a real guitar or whatever? I'm always trying to figure that out. But you've seen the industry through multiple eras, from CBGB days to now the algorithm years. And a lot of listeners only know today's hyper online landscape. So my first question is, how different was the industry when you started?
It was probably 1/1000th of the size. I came of age in the 60s. The Beatles were sort of, well, I was into music before. My first favorite band was Four Seasons when I was a little kid. I loved them. And then, everybody in my generation saw the Beatles on Ed Sullivan and said, I want to be in a band. I want to get to girls. I want to be a star like that. And so everybody formed bands. I was lucky enough to survive and be making music for 50 years. So I feel very blessed. I feel it's a privilege to make music. And I talk to my bandmates. I say, what we're doing, we're lucky to be able to still make music and to have survived as long, because most people fall by the wayside. So I think what was your point again? What was your question again?
So how do you think it's like, how different do you, it's how
Different.
it's changed?
Right.
Yeah.
So it was way smaller. I saw when CDs came out, there was a big change. The record companies were able to reissue the same music that that was already recouped and charge more money for it. And then, of course,
Guilty. I did that.
yeah. So, and then, Napster came along and
Yeah.
upset the apple cart, and the record companies sort of blew that a little bit. They didn't quite welcome it. So it took, what's his name, Daniel Ek at Spotify to really figure out how to do it. Things evolve. Technology affects communication. Music is communication. Movies are communication. If you're smart and you're clever, you ride the wave. You figure out how you can ride the wave. And people who say, "Oh, Spotify's a ripoff," those are the people left by the wayside because they don't have the talent to make music that people like.
Yeah. I mean, I think so too.
Spotify and streaming.
Yeah.
I'm a small player, and my band survives through streaming.
Yeah, I mean, I think, Andy, it's like I've discussed. You and I chatted off camera about this, but like I sometimes get crap like, oh, you're using some AI in this, like my animations and stuff. And I'm like, yeah, what am I can't afford to pay someone $10,000 to animate this right now. I said, if this podcast was making $100,000 a month, yeah, I'd pay someone 10 grand to make that animation. But it's my art design. I came up with the creative behind it, and I just had AI build it. But everyone's purist, like, well, you're not a real progressive, because I'm like, look, the toothpaste's out of the tube. You can't ignore it. It's here. It's not going to go away. You're not going to put that thing back in the tube. And I think it's got to figure out how to use it to your benefit. I mean, that's how I look at it. But
Yeah, there were graphic artists who didn't learn Photoshop, and they
Yeah.
got left behind.
yeah,
If you shop, but you don't know AI, you might be left behind also. As I just said, either you can ride the wave or you're going to be left behind. Things change very, very quickly now.
wow, yeah.
I would hate to be a kid today. I like, I think it's a little confusing, social media.
It is. I mean, here I am still like, okay, I've figured out YouTube, and I'm starting to figure out like the Facebook thing to grow this podcast. But now it's like, oh, you got to work TikTok. So now I'm trying to learn fucking TikTok. I'm like, which is a whole nother beast. But people are like, you got to use it. But I don't know. I mean, I still have to figure out, like, all right, I got to look at my analytics. I'm like, because I've been putting stuff up there, but I want to see if it's actually driving, them over to like my YouTube or Apple channel or Spotify channel or whatever. I'm like, one thing at a time. Let me master one thing at a time and figure it out. Just speaking of the old days, like, do you think there was anything like the old label system got right and opposed to things you think maybe they got totally wrong? Do you think there was anything great that they did, the old label system?
Well, the old label system was an artist development system also, and it was traditionally that the third record you made was the one that was the success. And then you put out the live record for the fourth one and you made more money. And a lot of artists, in those days, the first record or two or three wasn't successful. I mean, some of the major artists of our time, they built their audience slowly and surely, and that was the old label system. Now, they didn't pay a lot of money, and they certainly ripped off a lot of the artists from the 50s. I think now it's a little more equitable now. I'm not an expert on this. I'm sort of outside the system. I just make music. I put out
Yeah.
music, and I'm not concerned. I'm not really on social media. People have to force me to post when
Yeah.
I have dictator news or something.
Yeah.
I got to post. I find it a waste of time, and you get obsessive about it. You start checking how are people responding.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
prefer not to.
That was
but
Barry's advice to me. Don't get caught up
Yeah.
in,
Yeah. You can easily get caught up.
focus on your
know-
content.
I'm an old man. Technically speaking, I'm an old man. I deal with most of my friends are old.
You
My
look
wife-
great though,
Yeah.
Andy.
Thank you. Thank you.
We play sports so we don't get fat.
Try. Well,
One of my favorite lyrics.
I ended up having a really good life. I lived my dreams through music and other things I did also, traveling and food and wine,
Yep.
things I was able to explore because I was involved in music. And now I'm financially stable, and I just going to make music, the rest of my
But
life until
people-
I can't, until I'm in the wheelchair and I can't talk and I can't use my hands or I can't think.
Well, people,
That's wrong.
people like my listeners, viewers, Andy's also a sommelier, and he's like the most unpretentious sommelier. I remember I'd ask him about wines, and he'd be like, "Look, Dave, there are great $10 bottles of wine that taste just as good as 100, and you taught me that, like, not to be so snobbish about it, and like, you can find great wines for like modest prices, but you always give me some good advice on that.
It's not possible now.
Not now, but back then, we're talking 25 years ago.
But I think if you spend $20, you could find a good wine. I'm not going to say it's better than a $100 bottle of wine. Depends what you like. If you know what you like, the first thing is to figure out what you like in wine. And there's a huge world. It's like music. What music do you like? Then you can go explore. I like country music. You can explore in country music and find the different genres and niches and find what you like. Wine, you say, okay, I like Spanish wine. You go and explore in Spanish wine, and there are many wine regions, many different styles. You can find out what you like, and that's what's most important, knowing what you like.
All right. One of my favorite Andy stories, like, I don't know if you remember this, and it was funny because it culminated nicely with you and Kevin Kenny. And by the way, Kevin Kenny let me use on my last film his song Pre-Approved, Pre-Denied, and he let me use it for free on the film.
Really?
I know. And then after the film came out, I'm like, hey, I'm going to send you a copy. He's like, I already bought it. He goes, I support artists. And I was like, you are too much, Kevin. But so one of my favorite stories, like, because I got it told different times. Like, so when I first met you, one of the first questions I was like, why is your name spelled ADNY on the Dictator albums? And then I think your reply, let me see if I still remember it right. You said you were like registering for classes at, was it Queens College or whatever? And the woman asked you.
State University at New Paltz, yes.
New Paltz, okay. And you said, the woman asked you your name, and you said Andy, and she goes, spell that, and you said ADNY to screw with her?
No, she said, what's your name? I said, my name is Andy Shernoff. And she said, could you spell that, meaning my last name? And I said, I said my first name incorrectly because I was a wise guy trying to be.
Of course you are.
And people laughed, and I just kept it for a little bit. I don't use it now. But
no, but I thought it was funny and clever, and it's such a silly almost stupid story, but it's good silly stupid. And it was
I
the same thing.
specialize in silly and stupid, by the way.
Yeah, I know you do. And so I remember when I became friends with Kevin Kenny, and I asked him, I'm like, Kevin, why do you spell your name Kevn? And he goes, oh, well, I was living in Milwaukee and the electric company used to spell my name that way, so I just kept it. I was like, come on. I thought I expected from you two like these like wild, crazy stories, and they're just like completely silly but hilarious. I just couldn't stop laughing, and then I was just laughing when we were having. I think you had a 4th of July party, and we were both there, which that was a really good 4th of July party. I remember that one fondly.
At my house.
Yeah, remember, and then.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And then like everyone left, and I think it was just like me, you, Billy Miller, and Miriam, and then my girlfriend came over, and Norton Records. There we go, the late Billy Miller.
That was Billy Miller and Miriam Linna's label.
Yep, and it was Billy was like hilarious. He was just like one great joke. I miss that guy. He was like.
Right.
God, he was like killing us. I was doubled over. He knew like every joke in the book. I had to stop laughing. But that's a fond memory I have. That was a really good because that one, Kevin Kenny was at that party. You had a great crew at that party. It was like a really fun, nice intimate thing. I think like Keith Strang was there, and yeah, which was another great Andy Shernoff project. The master plan. Like
yeah.
I still listen to, Colossus of Destiny a lot. I mean, I think it's a great record. I really do. I think that's
I think we made some really good records. So,
and like, I love
a few years ago, we recorded a few songs, and somebody said, hey, why don't you put those songs together with greatest hits? So we did that a few records a few years ago. So
what's going on with the Dictators right now? Let's give a little plug here.
We've been playing. We put out a record last year. We're putting out song we're going to finish up, and we're going to put our new video. And we play, and we put up our music online, and
that's how I've been getting it.
The audience is not what it was from 30 years ago. We did a little Stephen Cruise in the Bahamas earlier this year. We have some shows. We did some shows in November, and December we take off, and then we got some more shows in January. So, we're just keeping busy.
Are you going to come up to New England anytime?
We've had some offers. Nothing is booked there, but
I always check. On your social media and everything, just to, if you're coming close to me. And every time I've been in New York, I've missed you. I was like, oh, geez, So, because, I'd love to see you guys, because it's been a while since I've seen you guys play. So, and you've always been one of my favorite bands.
Thank you.
Me as a, 13-year-old discovering, Let's Go Girl Crazy was like awesome. And then becoming friends with you, Joe the artist, a bunch of us always talk about that, like how we're fans. Like, it's like crazy. That's why the magic of like New York, and especially like the East Village, is like, the guys that you idolize their music, you can eventually become friends with. There's a fair chance of it.
Those days are gone, music.
No, they're gone. They're gone.
There are no more music clubs in New York. I don't live in New York. I live upstate New York.
Yeah, you're upstate. Yeah.
Mountains. It's a better lifestyle for me. And, people say New York is not what it was. It's not what it was. But I go to New York, I see the streets are packed. The bars are packed.
Yeah, they're packed.
People having a good time.
Yeah.
So, it's just,
It's the same for me, Andy. It's like, it was time for me to leave New York City. Like, I felt it. In 2016, I packed up. I went to Austin, Texas. And then that, kind of, got stale for me by, 2023, 22. I was like, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to move back to New England. Everything works. It works up there. It's nice. It's clean. It's peaceful. I have, I can get good health care. So I was like, time to pack up and like go back and go to New England. So, and I'm happy. It's a little quieter here, and I'm just, I'm older. I'm just not the same guy, and, I don't need to be bouncing around, bars all night and things like that anymore.
Oh, I don't even go to bars anymore. All right. I can't remember the last time I went to a bar. Somebody called me up. A guy said, "Hey, you want to go and get some drinks?" Not really.
Me, it's the only time I go is like usually to see, sometimes to meet someone out or whatever. But yeah, now it's like I always look for if there's a show or something, someone's playing, at a venue. And, tell you the truth, I've been a little upset with some of the like the crowds, like you had just mentioned that, like sometimes I go to these shows and I'm like, well, it's kind of a lame crowd for, and it'll be like a really good act. And I'm kind of always a little disappointed by, the live music crowds lately.
Well,
This new generation, I don't know. Maybe they just don't go to shows like we did. I'm trying to get hip, Andy. I'll be on TikTok, man. I'm going to be a TikToker.
too many niches now.
Yes.
And you
Yeah.
have to appeal to your little niche, and that's it. There's no artist who appeals across the board like the Beatles used to do, or Madonna. Everybody knew Madonna. There are artists that are selling as much, streaming as much as more than Madonna that you never heard of.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I know. I'm always like, who's this? And it's great because I have a lot of younger friends too. So like sometimes that's how I get it. Like, or like my friends' kids, of course they're like, but I see what they're putting up. I'm like, oh, like who's that? Because a lot of times when I see these artists like in the tabloids, I'm like, who? What did they do? And who is that? And that's how I learn is from that, just like seeing what they're posting. And I actually found some things. I'm like, oh, they're not bad, kind of, but.
Well, also, music is more international now.
Yeah.
It used to be just United States and England, and now there, people from artists. There's world music, and artists can be from India or Slovenia, and they can make, and they're posting their music in competition to my music.
Yep. It's you can't stop the global economy, I guess, it's just how it is. It's a more connected world.
Yeah, it would be difficult to do.
Yeah, it'll be fun. Well, Andy, I guess we're getting close to running out of time, but I'll put in, we'll put in some plugs for you and links and everything so people can follow you and, stream your music, buy some music, go see your shows, and, maybe we get some young people and they'll see how goddamn cool, like Go Girl Crazy. Blood Brothers, a fantastic album too.
I do, post my my solo music also on.
Well, yeah, yes, and
videos and Dictators. I'd appreciate that. Thank you very much.
I will. Like every Easter, Zombie Jesus goes out to all my friends.
Yeah,
every Easter.
Rapture.
Yes, the rat. I post it every Easter.
Excellent. Yeah,
every Easter I do.
It's a traditional Easter song, and we're coming up on Christmas. I have my my fuck Christmas song, and we'll come.
You do?
Absolutely, I have a great song. We're doing a Christmas show here in my town, and I'm going to be singing fuck Christmas and Festivus. I have my Festivus song.
You do? No! Oh my God!
I post all my holiday songs. I'm a big holiday guy.
Okay, well, email me the links, Andy, so I can put everything up because that's great. I'll post those over the holiday season. Those will be great.
Excellent. Great.
Yeah, that'll be
fun.
Thank
you so much.
Yeah, thanks, Andy. Have a good one.
You too. Bye-bye, Dave.
Bye. Here's a takeaway. Music is one of humanity's oldest art forms, and somehow Silicon Valley's managed to turn it into a data mining side hustle. But artists like Andy Shernoff remind us that authenticity still matters. Real voices, real instruments, real stories. Huge thanks to Andy for joining us and bringing both truth and perspective to the chaos of modern music. And if you like this episode, give us 5 stars or pretend to, the way streaming platforms pretend they're supporting artists. Goodbye and thanks.